Directorate of Public Relations of the Australian Army presents War Correspondent. Your name is Mike McCann. You're a war correspondent. For the people of this atomic time who know that peace belongs only to the prepared, you tell these stories of the Australian Army on active service. Your name is Mike McCann, war correspondent.
I'm Mike McCann. In the closing days of 1944, Bougainville was known as one of the most exacting and difficult battlefields in the South Pacific. Lying like a squat viper in the Solomon Sea, it was a sweltering place of fever, jungle, and swamp, with precipitous ridges poking above the matted foliage. The Americans had first landed on Bougainville Island with 2 divisions in November 1943 and established a shallow beachhead inside which 3 airstrips were constructed and used to bomb the big Japanese base established at Rabaul. The Americans were content to hold that beachhead against large-scale Japanese attacks. But in November 1944, when the Australians took over, it was decided to force the Japanese armies into an area where they could be contained and reduced. The 9th Australian Battalion struck the first blow in the all-out assault on Bougainville, and in the opening round, they found the enemy contesting their path across the vital so-called artillery ridge.
So that's Artillery Hill.
What's left of it, George? Not a very desirable piece of real estate.
No, but I suppose there are plenty of Japs still well dug in up there on top. Pity they weren't shredded like those banyan trees up there. The shelling has shredded them like celery.
Must remember that, George. Very colourful phrasing.
You'll have so many things to remember for that book you're going to write after the war, Bruce, that you'll end up with brain fever. And we haven't really...
Like celery. Yeah, I like that. And the black slopes of the hill rose above us, pounded and pulverized by the massive hammering of shells. So the bamboos that once clothed it lay like wind-tossed straw. And on its crest the banyan trees, once mammoth giants of many stalwart trunks, stood like shredded celery. Yeah, good stuff, eh, George?
Very rich. Remind me to buy a copy. That's if we get out of this section alive. You know, nobody ever told me that it was going to be like this in Divvy Sigs. I thought you stayed back with the generals and the top brass.
Well, you thought wrong. Very wrong.
That has become obvious to me ever since we landed on Bougainville. And it's even more obvious to me now lying here with these 9 battalion blokes waiting to race up that hill.
In a minute or so, it'll become even more obvious when you're scratching your way up that hill with this sig kit while those Japs are throwing everything down at you except their rice bowls and chopsticks. That's not bad, eh? Sort of switch on everything but the kitchen sink. Rice bowl and chopsticks. I think I'll put that in the notebook.
Save it. The militia's on the march. It's on for young and old.
I'm with you. You didn't think I was going to write it down, did you? You think I'm shaking too much to hold a pencil.
Just so long as you're not shaking too much to grab the other side of this reel. Come on. There's no Jap return fire yet.
Wait till our shelling stops.
Hold on. You right?
Only just. How do you reckon a bloke would be after falling halfway down a cliff and getting covered with mud and dirt?
Save it for your book. I'm hanging onto this reel up here. Now hurry up or I'll be down there with you.
This whole hill's loose. The shelling's loosened it all up. We'll never climb it.
Oh, come on, Shakespeare. I always thought you writers liked the dirt. Now let's get moving. The infantry boys are getting ahead. Those that are staying on their feet.
We must be near the top. The firing stopped.
Yeah. It's too steep for me to see it. I'm too busy hanging on. Can you see the Japs yet?
No.
There they go. Hundreds of them. They've been hiding while that shelling was on.
They're disappearing right along that ridge, George. Right along.
Disappearing into their trenches along the ridge. This is going to be tasty, real tasty. The infantry boys can't even see them.
And the Japs can't see our blokes either. Get down! Grenades! What a setup. The slope's too steep for him to fire down on us, and our blokes can't see them. And each side's throwing grenades now. The ridge is covered in smoke. Can you see it, George?
See it? All I can see is the sole of your boot right in my face.
Well, shift your face.
Okay. If you hang on or you'll finish up down at the bottom again. Oh, it's on up there. Our infantry is going through the smoke with grenades, armed guns. And they're joining over those Japan weapon pits one by one. What a bloom.
Get onto that bloke up there, will you? Perhaps he's lowered into that Jap pit while his mate tosses in the grenades. Now, this is the kind of fighting a man can get hurt in. So, we've taken Artillery Ridge.
Now, there's Pearl Ridge next. One ridge after another. Now get onto that Jap smell, will you? They must live like pigs. Pity you couldn't put that stink into your book.
Just on an hour it took these blokes to take this ridge, George.
I see it another way. Took 5 of our blokes dead and 10 wounded.
Yeah, that's right. But have a look around. There's about 50 dead Japs here. Cost them a whole lot more than it cost us. And look what for. The hill ridge after the battle was desolation. A place burned by the fire and anger of man. And in the dust that had been trampled by men opposing each other, in savage and final fury, lay the torn and shattered fabric, the twisted, empty cage that minutes ago was a man alive and breathing. Yeah. How's that for purple prize, George? Snipers, George! It's dangerous up here.
Well, that's what I keep telling you. All these notes you're taking might be a waste of time. We've got a long way to go before we clean up Bougainville.
Yes, these militia soldiers had long and bitter fighting ahead of them as they pushed their fighting columns into the interior of Bougainville and along the steaming coast. Ambush and infiltration failed to hold the advancing Australians, so the enemy brought out tanks, which he'd held concealed for 15 months. But our aircraft destroyed those, and the Australians pushed on.
How do you spell translucent, George?
How would I know? The only name I'm able to spell is that Jap Major General's. That General Kander with his 6th Division somewhere out there ahead of us. I've been sending enough reports about him back to Divvy to be able to spell it in his sleep.
Translucent is a word, not a name, George. It's an adjective.
Well, look here, sport, I can give you a better adjective. You can pick up plenty of better adjectives around here any day. They're lying around knee-deep, just like this mud.
Yeah, not much help.
Look here, someone in this army's got to worry about the Japs. You're too busy making nuts. The rest of the blokes are too busy riding home for Easter. And me, I've got to worry about that last patrol report we sent on. The report about that bivouac of 80 Japs they came on yesterday. They shelled it all last night and the Japs haven't budged yet. I've got a feeling the Jap has dug his heels in.
Yeah. What's the date?
March 1944.
What in March? I've got to be accurate.
March 9, 1944. And so far as I'm concerned, it's the same as any other day in this stinking island. Hot and humid, and I've got a beautiful case of prickly heat. Well, now I'll have to give you something to put in.
Are you two blokes Divvy 6?
Yeah?
That's the 25th Battalion?
Yeah, it's us.
Well, you better get moving. I want you quick smart up the track. Don Company's in strife and A Company's not much better off.
Oh, but the company's...
No, ambush near the track junction. Better get moving.
Take this message back, will you, please? Japanese in strength, in series of deep defensive positions. Stop. We'll attack with bayonet, small arms, and grenades. Ends. Get that off straight away, and I'll get back and take the men in.
You through, George?
Yeah, we're keeping the line open. I'll pass that message on now.
Bent double, the company commander went back swiftly to join his men. Intently they watched him as he returned. Their eyes dark in the knowledge that they must now come to grip with the enemy. Come to close quarters with the bayonets darkening in the jungle gloom.
Talking to yourself again?
I want to keep this scene, this picture.
We'll get up close. Go in with the boys. There they go now. That'll give you something to write about. In they go. Hands lend a hand. Yes, sir. Right, sir. I've got it clear now, sir. I'll get it straight to the company. Here's this message from headquarters for the company commander. Artillery and air will be laid on at 1300 hours for 1 hour, and then the company's going to attack.
About time, too. 3 days this Jap position has held us up now.
That's the softening up finished.
And there go the boys in. Look, George! Look! Look at that corporal! He's running ahead of his own, smack bang into those Jap bunkers. Get onto him, will you? Struth, look at him! Just he went into that bunker and sprayed it. He's going on to the next one. He's giving it the works too. Man alive! That's guts, George. Real guts. And he's going on to the next one. How is he? Now he's giving it to them. Get back, Corp! Get back! He can stretch his luck too far. Ah, he's ducking back, and the Japs that are left in those other bunkers having a crack at him now. But he's made it! He's made it, George! Good on you, son!
But you see what he's come back for, Bruce? Grenades! He's going back with them, running back!
But he won't make it, George, he won't make it. Those other 2 bunkers are right onto him. Oh, good throw! And another! Give it to him! Give it to him, son!
He's done it! He's done it! Did a lot of those bunkers over. And now he's onto that Jap machine gun crew. Well, he's done them too. He's knocked it out too.
Yeah.
Well, now you've got something real to write about, mate.
Sig?
Yes, sir?
Make a report to divisional headquarters that the road is now cleared. I won't mention Corporal Ratty in this message.
Corporal Ratty, sir?
Yes, Corporal R.R. Ratty. He's one of your New South Welshmen. You just saw him in action.
Corporal Ratty, eh? Look at him standing there. Nursing his bren, he stands looking down at the mess of tangled atap, bamboo and leaves that had hidden the last deep trench he had scoured out with his bren. His beret was pushed back off his young forehead, and a lock of hair lay loose, damp with sweat. Sweat-stained, too, were his jungle greens, but in his deep-set eyes was a gleam of quiet triumph.
For his courageous action, which turned a desperate situation into a brilliant success, Corporal R.R. Ratty of the 25th Australian Infantry Battalion was awarded the Victoria Cross. The citation said, in part, "By the courage, cool planning and stern determination of Corporal Ratty was a brilliant success attained. His bravery was an incentive to the entire company." However, the enemy came back to the attack after he'd licked his wounds. Japanese were known to be reconnoitering approaches to the Australian positions, and jeeps were ambushed, cookhouses and gun positions were raided. The enemy conducted a stealthy war of nerves, a hit-run war to which the curtains of jungle and bamboo thickets lent themselves so admirably. Cunningly, the Japanese exploited every means to harass the Australians, who had pushed them back from the coast.
All quiet again, Bruce. I don't like it much. It sounded like a real brawl down there, where our patrol went to see what was doing.
They knew what to expect. The Japs are creeping around all over the place.
They probably want to keep us company on Good Friday. That'll make a nice little touch for your book. Look up the track there. Look at that. There's something for your book.
Japs! A mob of them!
And there's 3 less. And look at the others go to earth.
They've gone into their old weapon pits. The ones our blokes prized them out of. They're really coming back at us.
You're right, duck.
This is getting serious. Next thing, they'll be injuring someone.
That could be now. Grab your rifle. Here they come. Top that. And that.
Let's get back out of here.
Well, what's your panic? This'll make good reading, particularly if they make a banzai charge. We set them back on their heels that time. They'll be reloading their magazines now, and we'll see them again any time. You see what I mean? There's another one down. Hey, go easy with that Owen gun, Mo. The pen might be mightier than the sword, but I don't want to see it put to the test right now.
That's the fourth go they've had at us, George.
And we're still here. But not much longer, I'd say. I'm low on ammo. And I reckon so is everyone else pinned down here with us.
Except the Japs.
Well, I don't know. They've used a lot up to date.
What's this?
This is the banzai charge you've been waiting for. Now, come on. Get the rest of your ammo shot away. You'll be having your ribs tickled with a Jap bayonet. I'm right out of ammo. There's the sergeant giving us the thumb across there. Right out of ammo, Sarge. Okay, when you're ready. Come on, mate. Get ready to make a break back to the company perimeter. Looks as though we're all down on ammo. Here we go. Come on. Well, it's good to be back with the mob, eh? Isn't it?
What's that? You're talking to me?
I don't talk to myself. Of course I was talking to you. You were too busy deepening that trench. I'd have thought you'd have grabbed a pen instead of a shovel when you got back inside the perimeter.
Very, very funny. Would have been funnier still if our blokes on the Vickers hadn't been able to stop the Japs. They were right in our hammy, you know.
Yeah, they were too. Well, hand me a shovel if you're only going to use it to lean on. I want to get down a bit deeper. I've got a feeling the Japs are going to keep after us. That's the fourth go they've had against the perimeter, Bruce. Well, next time it'll be the banzai job again, I suppose.
I hope not. My nerves are twanging like piano strings.
Get down! Haha, missed us.
Yeah, might be different next time.
Getting too dark for them now. They'll probably let up during the night.
What a night. They never stopped mortaring all night. What a night. They just plastered us. Yeah, where you been this early? It's hardly dawn.
I've been across to company headquarters. See if we were needed. We weren't and aren't.
That reminds me, I'll have a special section in my book about how wrong you can be. Probably let up during the night, he says.
All right, so I was wrong. Just lay off for a while, will you? I've had that piano tuner tightening up my nerves, too.
She's all right now. I don't mind it in the daylight, particularly when we don't have to work. They don't need us, eh? Don't need to contact headquarters.
I didn't say that. The fact is, they do want to contact Divvy and Battalion headquarters, and urgently. But we can't. All our communications are cut.
Cut?
Yeah, snip, snip. Japs are all round us. About 600 of them against about 80 of us. And those mortars they used on us last night.
Yes?
Now, don't put this in your book because nobody will believe it. They were the mortars we had to leave behind us up there along the road.
What?
And the reason their firing was so accurate was they tapped our signal wires and used them for ranging onto us.
Oh.
Yeah, as the writers say, the plot thickens. And to top it off, here comes the rain. It'll just makes the Japs harder for us to see. He knows where we are. You see across to the right? Something moving there. One less. 599. Come on now, Shakespeare, you're the book writer. Say we're the heroes in your book. How do you get out of this?
Frankly, I'd have killed you off. You're a character the readers wouldn't like.
Oh, I keep that delicious sense of humour of the pages, Bruce. Now I'll give you the plot. We're here, you see, just a handful of us surrounded by hundreds of screaming nips. You scream through the lines with a message calling for aircraft and artillery support.
You've got your characters mixed. Me,
Those Japs just don't appreciate good literature. Pump it into them, mate.
I've never been so glad to see dawn before, George. even though it is sodden. Yeah, it sure looks good. But I don't think we're going to be able to hold out much longer.
We're all right. It's the wounded I'm sorry for. You know, Bruce, now and then I can hear a funny sort of noise.
That'd be my stomach rumbling.
Oh, no, it's a sort of a trembling, like in the air.
I suppose you want me to put that in my notebook. You get your own notebook.
You hear it, Bruce? How distant it is. Sounds like tanks.
Jap tanks. Oh, that'd be the end. We've got no tanks in this area.
Oh, no, I'm probably hearing things. Look out. Here they come again. Bruce! Look down the track there. Look at them. Tanks!
Matildas!
I was right. Aussie tanks!
What a lovely sight! What a glorious sight! Lovely, lovely tanks!
Wham! They blew that foxhole sky high. Now get onto your Bren. We're going to have some fun here. The Japs are breaking before the tanks. They're breaking out like rabbits from stubble. Get on them!
You're right! Now it's our turn! We'll give them something to hurry them up!
Those Australians of the 25th Battalion cheered the Matilda tanks of the 2nd 4th Armoured Regiment as they came churning up the jungle track, hunting the Japanese before them, shooting them down and breaking the grip the Japanese had held on the small, isolated force. The 3 tanks had come ashore onto Bougainville just a few hours before, and as soon as they were unloaded from the LCTs, they were ordered to relieve the besieged force. 1 tank bogged on the trek in and had to be abandoned, but the other 3, with the aid of bulldozers and the unrelenting efforts of Australian troops, forced their way across flooded streams, deep swamp and jungle. This Easter action was the first of many similar fanatical attacks, and bitter and costly to the Japanese was the fighting that raged in the north and south of Bougainville, as the Australians gradually forced the enemy back into the extremities of the island in preparation for the final blow.
Another ambush, George.
Yeah, that's the 5th today. We're hitting them just about as frequently, but it's a long time since we've seen a show as crook as that one in Easter down in the south.
I want to see another one like it either. What's the date?
Sometime in July.
24, 25, 26. July 26. It's about 4 months ago since we landed ourselves in that blow. And I tell you what, I'm not over keen on this kind of caper we're on. Why stir the Japs up?
Ah, she's apples. This 8th Battalion is all right. And these patrol actions are a cup of tea with a vicar. Oh, shh. It's a tripwire, Bruce. We must be up against the Jap strong post. Trouble any time now.
That'll be base 5. It's around here somewhere. The infantry blokes will know. Come on, let's get up with the section leader. Let's see the attack start.
Down, Bruce. The Japs know we're here. They've knocked over a couple of our blokes. This post is going to hold us right up. What am I saying? Look, there's one of our blokes getting to his feet. It is one of our blokes, isn't it?
Where? Yeah, it is. And he's making a dash for that Jap position in the clump of timber there. He's going to try a rally on it. He's trying to knock it out single-handed.
But he can't. The Japs have got the wood on us. They're dug in. He's got no show. They dropped him. Well, they got him all down the left side, Bruce, and he's lost his gun. But look at him. He's picked up a gun from one of our dead blokes there. It's a Bren. And he's standing there and shouting at him. He's offering him out, Bruce. He's challenging him to come out and fight. Blood all over him. How's he standing up?
Standing up? He's going in. He's going in at the strong point single-handed, belting at it with the Bren. Now he's got his clasp knife with his right hand. Got him! Heaven, George! He's gone into that bunker with a clasp knife! Wounded with only a clasp knife!
But he's out again, Bruce. Smiling too. And he's grabbing his Bren again. Leave a chapter open for this bloke, Bruce. This puts fiction in the shade. But come on, the fight's still on. We better run some wire.
Private Frank Partridge, a New South Wales militiaman of the 8th Battalion, although wounded by 4 enemy bullets, carried on with his platoon after taking the bunker single-handed and killing the surviving Japanese with a clasp knife. And for that action, he won the Victoria Cross. His was the 20th Victoria Cross won by Australians in World War II. And it was one of the many actions that added glory to the record of the Australian militiamen in Bougainville.
War Correspondent, recorded by Robert Peach Productions, is presented for your entertainment by the Australian Army's Directorate of Public Relations.